let's talk about silicone and silicone molds. They're really helpful for making small batches or creating doll parts using molds and then modifying them. This way, you can focus on the creative aspect without having to sculpt the doll from scratch each time. The choice of silicone is vast and can be overwhelming. Let's break down a bit. Silicone is a two-component material. When these components are mixed, a chemical reaction occurs and we get a rubber-like material. This rubber can have varying degrees of hardness. The first thing we pay attention is the shear hardness. If our mold consists of one piece and we remove it like a stocking and we plan to pour a liquid material into the mold, we choose a softer material that stretches better. This value is around 10-15. If we make a mold from multiple parts, for example for polymer clay, we use a harder silicone with a shear hardness of 30-40. Silicone is a very thick material. When mixed, air bubbles from inside. Some types of silicones require a special vacuum chamber. If you don't have one, carefully read the packing to see if your silicone needs degassing. The next parameter is pot life. This is the time during which the silicone remains liquid and can be worked with. It can range from a few minutes to several hours. Assess your abilities to apply it to the surface in time. Next, we look at the curing time. This is the time from when the silicone is applied to the part until it can be removed. This can also vary from half an hour to several hours. All two-component silicones are divided into two groups based on the type of catalysts: tin-based silicone and platinum-based silicone. Tin-based silicone is cheaper, but it is less durable and cannot be heated. Platinum-based silicone is more durable and is used in the food industry and cosmetology. However, it is more expensive and quite capricious. It won't cure on surfaces containing sulfur. Therefore, if you use modeling clay for the master model, read the composition carefully. In Barcelona, I had a sculpting clay quest. I have worked a lot with sculpting clay in Moscow and knew exactly what kind I needed. Here, I found the very clay that contains sulfur. At first, I came across one that was too soft, then one with sulfur. Silicone would not cure on it and turned into disgusting sticky mass. I covered the parts with lacquer, but the silicone still didn't cure. Out of desperation, I remembered my childhood. I used to sculpt tiny, highly detailed figures and coat them with PVA glue. They became firm and stood on my shelves. The PVA glue formed a dense film, but even that was not enough. Platinum-based silicone and sulfur-containing clay don't mix well at all. Don't repeat my mistakes, make a master model from polymer clay, it is best way proven by experience. The doll making process always throws up unexpected challenges. That's why I have made disposable molds from construction sealant and plaster. This is a budget-friendly option. Using them, I'll make a doll from polymer clay and then high-quality silicone mold from it. Silicone is a liquid material, so molds are cast into a special formwork. Alternatively, there are additives that make it thicker and can be applied to vertical surfaces. You can buy mold-making silicone with these additives already included, but this adds to the cost. To prevent the silicone mold from deforming during use, it is made form into two layers. A thin layer of silicone that accurately replicates all the shapes of the part and a hard shell on top. Can be made of plaster. Plaster bandages are convenient to use, or it can be made from special hard polymer materials. So I had to be the first one to make my debut in the mistakes rubric. Very often you look at your work and realize that something is wrong, but you can't figure out what it is. I'll help you. I also have one good example from my student Julia. Julia made mistakes that all beginner artists make. The proportions of the skull are broken here. I can understand that you want to make interesting details as quickly as possible, but you have to get the proportions right first. The center is lost in this head. This is the axis that runs from the highest point of the head to the middle of the hole. On this line, the ear is located. Because of mistake, the jaw is too big, and the back of the head is just missing. The ear is moved to the middle and the jaw is undercut. Also, move the hole for the neck and cut the back of the head. Another classic mistake. The brow arches are too high. They should be straight. We lower them. Don't be afraid that the doll will have an angry face. To avoid this, we add a trapeze to the bridge of the nose and slightly cover the upper eyelid. Make the cheekbones and the tone of the brow a little bit narrow. The head should widen towards the back of the head. Check your work, send me a picture of what you are doing, and we'll figure out the mistakes. In my experience, everyone's mistakes are about the same, so your example will be helpful to everyone. Who is Mr. Silicone? We know from which materials typically ball-jointed dolls are usually made, so let's discuss how BJD artists have also begun to incorporate silicone into their work. It enhances the doll's realism, flexibility, and durability. Here is how BJD artists use silicone in their craft. Some BJD artists use silicone to create hybrid dolls that combine the best features of both resin and silicone materials. The artists may use silicone for parts of the doll that require more flexibility and natural feel, such as the hands, feet, or even the entire body. The resin components, which are more rigid, can be used for the head and other parts that require fine detailing. Another way BJD artists use silicone is by creating silicone skin overlays for their dolls. These overlays can be slipped onto traditional resin BJD, providing a more realistic skin texture and feel. The silicone skin can also be used to conceal the joints in the dolls, enhancing their overall appearance. Although the most expensive wigs are made out of mohair and silk, silicone is also used. It is used to create a base on which the doll's hair is glued. Silicone is often used as a mold-making material in the BJD creation process. Artists may create silicone molds of their original sculpts, which can then be used to cast multiple copies of their doll parts in resin. Silicone molds are flexible and can capture intricate details, making them ideal for BJD production. Silicone can also be used for customizing or repairing BJDs. Artists may use silicone to create additional body parts or accessories for their dolls or to repair damaged areas such as joint sockets. The flexibility and durability of silicone make it suitable material for those purposes. In conclusion, BJD artists have found various ways to incorporate silicone into their work to enhance the realism, flexibility, and durability of their creations. As the BJD community continues to evolve and innovate, we can expect to see even more creative uses of silicone in the future. The history of the use of silicone in the doll industry dates back to the middle 20th century, but it wasn't until the 1990s that silicone dolls started gaining significant popularity. The doll industry has been a substantial innovation and development over the years, and the introduction of silicone as a material played a crucial role in this transformation. Prior to the use of silicone, dolls were typically made from materials such as porcelain, celluloid, rubber, and various forms of plastic. Porcelain was the primary material used for making dolls in the 19th and early 20th centuries. However, these dolls were fragile, expensive, and don't well suited for play. In the middle 20th century, silicone emerged as a new material for various industries. Silicone is a synthetic material derived from silicon, oxygen, carbon, and hydrogen. It possesses unique properties such as flexibility, durability, and resistance to heat and chemicals. These properties made silicone an attractive choice for doll makers who began experimenting with the material. The first instances of silicone being used in doll making were primarily for creating doll parts such as hands and feet that required more realism and detail. Silicone allowed artists to create lifelike textures and features that were difficult to achieve with traditional materials. The 1990s marked a turning point for silicone dolls as their popularity grew exponentially. With advancement in silicone technology and manufacturing processes, artists and companies began to create full-bodied silicone dolls that were highly realistic and offered a more lifelike feel that dolls made from other materials. The development of platinum silicone in the 1990s further enhanced the durability and realism of silicone dolls. The late 1990s and early 2000s witnessed the emergence of reborn dolls, which were incredibly lifelike, one-of-a-kind dolls created by skilled artists. These dolls were typically made using vinyl, but as silicone gained traction in the industry, many artists began using silicone for their reborn dolls to create an even more realistic appearance and tactile sensation. Similarly, silicone was also adopted by artists making art dolls, which were highly detailed. Sculpted dolls are primarily intended for collectors. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, the adult doll industry also began to adopt silicone as a primary material for creating realistic, life-sized dolls. The introduction of silicone provided a more human-like feel and appearance, revolutionizing the adult doll market. Over time, these dolls evolved to incorporate advanced features such as articulated skeletons, customizable appearances, and even artificial intelligence capabilities. The use of silicone in the doll industry has become a long way since its inception. Its unique properties have allowed for the creation of more realistic, durable, and lifelike dolls, revolutionizing the industry as a whole. For me, it is above all an opportunity to reproduce my doll in the easiest way possible without losing the uniqueness of each cast. I also use molds to popularize the craft of the ball-jointed dolls, as in my classes students can quickly press their workpieces. Even children coped, I remember. Tove and Mårran. It is easier to build a bridge in communication to someone with whom you have something in common in childhood. In the USSR, there was censorship, and books in my childhood came to me according to a strange principle. Those that did, because of general hunger for verbal information, were read to Tatars. It is funny that the USSR has a ticket with the Swedish, since we all read Astrid Lindgren and Tove Jansson. We know by heart the passages from the whole vast collection of writings. So I wanted to delve deeper into history, which of course was unknown to us in the USSR, but which exposes the artist's soul very well, no matter what country from. Once upon a time, in the whimsical world created by Tove Jansson, an extraordinary character named Mårran, also known as Groke, came into existence. Born out of the mysterious depths of Tove's imagination, Mårran was a peculiar being that often left the inhabitants of Moomin Valley feeling uneasy. neither a woman nor a human, she was an ambiguous entity with a hulking shadow figure that perpetually froze everything she touched, leaving an icy trail wherever she wandered. Despite her rather unsettling appearance, Mårran longed for warmth and companionship, but her presence were often met with fear and avoidance. As a creative soul who experienced moments of isolation and darkness, Tove Jansson felt a deep connection with Mårran. Through her melancholic character, Tove explored the complexities of loneliness, empathy, and acceptance, as well as themes of self-discovery and identity, reflecting her own experiences as a bisexual woman during a time when such relationships were less accepted. Mårran's ambiguous nature and her inability to fit neatly into the categories of the creatures in Moomin Valley may also be seen as a reflection of Tove's bisexuality. Like Mårran, Tove navigated a world that often sought to label and categorize individuals, but her identity defied such simplistic classifications. Mårran's journey towards acceptance and understanding parallels Tove's own experience in finding a place within society where she could openly embrace her authentic self. As the stories unfolded, Mårran's relationship with the Moomins and other inhabitants of Moomin Valley involved, they learned to look past her frightening appearance and see the sadness that lay beneath. The Moomins came to understand that Mårran's coldness was not a reflection of malevolent nature, but rather a manifestation of her longing for warmth and connection. In the end, Mårran's story is a testament to the power of understanding and the beauty that can be found in even the most seemingly dark and mysterious characters. Through her creation, Tove Jansson not only brought to life an unforgettable figure, but also found a way to explore the depth of human emotion and importance of empathy, love, and acceptance. By weaving themselves or self-discovery, acceptance, and empathy into Mårran's story, Tove provided representation for the LGBTQ+ community and reminded readers of the importance of embracing the complexities of human identity. So it is important to accept yourself as you are. Sometimes we need a key metaphor to understand ourselves. And here every doll maker has undeniable advantage over ordinary people. We are constantly molding ourselves and looking at it from the outside. And each doll becomes an imprint of the time it was made. I encourage everyone to experience this role of creator in my classes, both face-to-face and online. The link is in the description.